Welcome to Allie's Attic Show, where you never know what kind of surprise you'll find in my attic. I'm your host, Allie, and today my surprise is a passionate and eccentric American multi-instrumentalist, producer, and alternative indie folk singer, songwriter. Woo, that's a mouthful. From Atlanta, Georgia, please welcome Douglas Aldridge. Hello, Douglas.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm so glad to be here. I'm doing very well.
I'm glad you're here. I love your songs. You have, before we even start, I tell a lot of artists that they have a very distinct sound because they do. You definitely do. Your voice alone is all you. If I heard a song like, walking through a mall or something and you came on, I would know it was you. You have a very distinct sounding voice. So you come from a musical family and you've been doing this for a while. So basically, tell me your journey so far.
Well, I started singing when I was very, very young and have always just been passionate about singing. But growing up listening to my grandfather talk about his journey through music and his shortcomings, and then watching my father go through some of the same tribulations, I decided at an early age that I wanted to make music and that I wanted to have a career in music and to get my songs on the radio and to do all the things that my grandfather and my father, they were never able to do because they had families. So my journey has just been one of self-searching, trying to find my place in this huge world of talented people who make music. And luckily I was blessed with a unique voice, which honestly in school it was a curse because people kids can be cruel.
Yeah.
And but it's so nice now as an adult to my voice being my one characteristic that sets me apart from most artists. And singing passionately, I just sing from my heart, and that's where all of this comes from. So but I've been through a lot of bands, I've been through a lot of people coming in playing in my band. But for the most part, the one thing that's been able to stay the same is myself, because my passion hasn't changed, and my goals are the same. And every time I cross one of those goals off my list that I have on my mirror, I write a new goal in. And some of the goals at first seemed like they were just unattainable. I would never achieve them. But as I check off the little goals, they start to add up until I'm on this show, which is such an honor to be a part of.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad you're on now, and I'm glad you talked about your distinct voice. And yeah, I know how kids can be, but I mean, you've put yourself in the category of Adam Levine, because I mean, when you hear Adam Levine, you know it's Adam Levine. When you hear Douglas Aldridge, you know it's Douglas Aldridge. So that is a bonus in your adult life, like you said, because yeah, kids can be awful, awful. Now you have okay, so your grandfather, Donald Eugene Aldridge, was also a renowned singer in Ohio. And
yes.
Okay, so and you're okay. Who else? There was another. Who else was? Who was your? Okay, so who is your dad? The singer and music minister.
He is.
Okay, so
and he's the same name. He's senior and I'm junior.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's why I was getting mixed up. I'm like, wait, it's all you. No, hang on. No, it's not. Okay, so you're like third generation entertainer.
I am.
That is awesome. And you started, like you said, chorus in elementary school and continued throughout school. Now, you started writing when you were 16.
Yes, original songs when I was 16, which I found so difficult. And I was ready to give up the first day. I mean, some of the very original, very first things I wrote were so terrible. Just so terrible. But I liken it to turning on a hose, not a hose, a water. When you get your water turned on in a new house, and you have to run the faucet to get some of the brown, dirty water out before the clean water runs through, and that's kind of how it was for me, because it's been nonstop since 16 of writing original music, and not just writing original music, but composing original music without any theoretical music lessons. Like, I learned some things in chorus with how to sing, but I come from a family of singers, so they didn't really. I didn't pay attention to the important stuff, like the notes, and like my chorus class went to an all-state finals competition, and it was based on sight reading and all of these musical theory skills that I didn't have, and I was able to just kind of slide through because I could match the pitch of the person next to me who did know what notes they were reading off the music. So that was that was definitely one benefit of being coming from a musical family.
Yeah, I would imagine. Okay, so you recorded your first solo EP, About Time.
Yes.
And then you released To Sing the Blues LP and To Scream Loudly LP. Then Mouthful of Nothing EP and Optional EP. Now, your first album was accepted by Pandora in May of 2016.
That's right.
And okay, so there's this. You've been accepted and played on a lot of radio stations. Okay, so Running From Myself LP was your second album accepted by Pandora in May of 2017. My Mind aired on 989X, which is Atlanta's alternative radio station, 98.9 FM on Mother's Day 2017.
That was a huge day.
I guess that would be Mother's Day, and your song played on the radio.
Yes, that was such a huge day. Like, I live in that day. On bad days, I just like go back to that day and live in that day. So
awesome. That is cool. I love it when you have days like that, because I have days like that too, where it's such like I want to go back there and just stay there for the rest of my life. Also in 2017, Perfect World, 50s Moonwalk, 50s Death Song, Feverish, and Christmas Time were also featured on 99X.
Yes. Now, I love the 50s. When I was growing up, that was the music that my grandparents got me. They listened to, so I listened to because they were listening to it, and I still love the 50s music, all of it. I actually had wished that one day I would have a shot to go to a recording studio like Elvis or Johnny Cash or some of the artists back then, and try out for the record label and get a yes or no and go through that whole process instead of the way I'm doing it now, which is all independent, and I record myself and mix and master myself, and I do pretty much everything myself. But one of the songs in that list is Christmas Time, which most people, when they found out that I wrote a Christmas song, they were like, what? Because they know that I do not care for Christmas that much. And so I kind of wrote my Christmas song from the perspective of someone who doesn't care for Christmas very much. But the interesting thing about the song is that it was a Sunday when I wrote it, and I was listening to 99X, waiting for the results of a competition I had competed in, which at the end of everything, I did not win that competition. But through listening to their station and their pleas for original Christmas music from the local Atlanta area, I wrote a song. I recorded it that week, mixed and mastered it, and sent it to the radio station, and they played it 7 days later.
Oh, wow.
So it went from being like a thought in my brain to being on the FM radio in 7 days, which was really, it's like the pinnacle of everything I've done so far, because that is just, the turnaround is so quick.
Yeah.
7 days from thought to finish. I'm really proud about that. And it's for a song a Christmas song. I really don't care for Christmas. So, not that I'm a Scrooge. It's just, I don't know. Well, I come from humble beginnings. So, Christmas time's usually a time of plenty and it was always a time of woe and want in my house. So.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm getting personal here, but my great grandfather committed suicide Christmas Eve. So I'm not a Christmas person either, like not a Christmas person. And I wasn't until I had my grandkids, and that changed my whole perspective. But now I'm back to, it's too commercialized. Same with Valentine's Day, same with, like, you know, it's too commercialized. If I love somebody, I'm going to tell them I love them. If I want to buy them a gift, I'm going to buy, you know what I mean? It's just, it's crazy.
Exactly. They'll know it because you're on a daily basis showing that love. When it comes down to one day a year, it jades people, and it puts people in a position where they feel like they can't show their love because they don't have the means on those days.
Yeah.
And it's all to make some fat cat rich, you know. It's terrible, but
yes, I know where you're coming from there. Now, I mean, we went from being with my father until my mom left, where I could just point in a catalog and I would get it.
Yeah.
To the first Christmas, which was the best Christmas I've ever spent in my life. I made my brother a gift, homemade. I made my mom a gift, homemade, and they did the same. We got this TV that you had to hang exactly 99 pennies on the channel selector to get the channel. And it was the best Christmas ever because when you make something, it comes from your heart, not your wallet.
Absolutely.
And
there is true sentiment.
Yeah. And it was such a good Christmas. So I understand where you're coming from there. So we're both on the same page about Christmas. Now, you have released your latest LP, Catching Glimpses, and you're actively performing, writing, and producing in Atlanta, Georgia.
That is correct.
And like you said, you've done this for a while. You come from such a huge musical background with your family. If you had any advice, Douglas, to give any artist that's out there right now, whether they're new, whether they've been out there for a while, what do you think you would tell them?
I would tell them, and I do get asked this question a lot, and I think that the most important advice that anyone could be given that is looking for that answer is to be persistent and not give up, because you cannot fail if you don't try, but you're never going to succeed if you don't try. So just because somebody else across the street is doing a better job, or they're getting booked and they're making money, or because your grandmother is disappointed that you're not becoming a lawyer or whatever, if your passion in this world is music, do not give up on it. Continue to hone your craft, continue to work at it, and just like when you get the water turned on in a new home and you turn that faucet on, it's going to come out dirty brown until you let it run long enough to get clear. But once you work through all of that dirty water, you're going to be in a unique position to bring a unique perspective to the world that so desperately needs that unique vision in music right now.
Yes, I completely agree. I love that analogy, by the way, about turning on the water in a new house and getting rid of all the sediment and the brown water and everything, and then it running clear. I love your analogy, and don't ever stop using that because it's a perfect analogy to explain music. Now, what two songs are we going to hear from you?
You are going to hear Catching Glimpses and Feverish.
Okay. And everybody can find Douglas on all social media. He's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I urge you to follow him. You can buy his music online. Go and purchase it. It's beautiful. All of your music is awesome. And
thank you so much.
You guys are going to fall in love with his voice because seriously, it is such a unique, awesome voice. So Douglas, I want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come on my show and for sharing your story. And if anything new happens, you're more than welcome to come back. If you release new singles and you want me to help promote them, I can throw them up on a page on my website that I promote singles on, and I will help you as much as I can. And I wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. This has been a memorable experience that I will definitely go back to on tough days when the business is not going so great. And it's been a pleasure, and I thank you so much for having me. And I will definitely let you know when new updates with new music is coming, which should be soon.
Awesome. 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 And thank you for joining me on Allie's Attic Show. Keep checking my website because you never know what kind of surprises you'll find in my attic. Cheers.